I'm a tiny speck of nothing, and I'm the entire universe.
The appeal literally just got approved. I swear to fuck. TikTok's having my fucking life. It just came through saying appeal approved after I've restarted. I'm sitting right here. I really don't understand. I really don't understand why he keeps doing it. It's fucked. It was doing it the other week with TikTok Live Studio being a right twat. It's weird. It's very weird. Listening to the Russell Brand interview. This song, you're not listening to the lyrics, are you?
No.
No, good. It's a good. It's good. Good.
Play it again. Play it again. Let me listen. Go on.
I don't just listen to white girl music.
Yes, you do.
I mean, majority, all right. How's it going?
Right, everyone tap the screen for me, please. Everyone tap the screen. It's going all right. It's going all right. I feel a little bit poorly today.
Why? What's up?
I don't know. I can't tell if it's hay fever or cold, but I think I've got a cold coming. I just don't feel the greatest. I'm about to come off soon, but I thought I'd come and see my TikTok husband.
Good. Good. It's about time. I've been feeling quite neglected recently.
Have you?
Yeah, I've been throwing loads of heartmates around and...
Only because I crashed out. I crashed out the other week because you were out here. Thank you, Norris. I crashed out, and then you learnt about sending heartmates when you came in the room. Thank you, Norris.
Okay. Thank you. I'm very pretty. You, Bex.
You are very pretty.
I'm just about to watch the bloody Russell Brand bloody interview with Piers Morgan.
Ah!
Do you know about the?
I've seen clips, but I haven't watched it all.
Well, I've been done twice for reproduced content when I haven't even pressed play.
Oh.
It was just on my screen.
Just I
was just like, what the? So I was like, oh, and I was doing it here rather than YouTube because I know from people that I follow in the like commentary community over there that Russell is serving out legal sort of notices and things like that constantly, even though he tells everybody about the mainstream media controlling everyone, but he couldn't act more like he's in the 1%.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, he's a manipulative twat, so I'm interested to see
Longwood.
I've told you before, I don't like that song. Thank you, Bex. Thank you.
I love a bit of Longwood, me.
I know. That's why I've never hit it off.
I know. It's why. Yeah.
Sizzled.
It was a bit disappointing, really. Smallwood. But you know, you've got what you got.
Just got to work with what you've got, yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
I know. It's very disappointing. I was gonna message you actually about hanging out this weekend, and I fucking like a prick.
Wow.
I hate my ADHD brain sometimes. Like today, I went to the gym and then came back and immediately took the dog out because he was there in my face, and I was like, whoa. And then I went in to do like some cleaning, and then was like, oh shit, yeah, I stopped the bath running like fucking 4 hours ago. I was like, oh fuck. So I'm really not very good at the minute.
No, I know what you mean. I'm like that sometimes. Oh wait, Norris has said sometimes a twig makes an excellent wand.
Not in this case.
No, not in his case. Absolutely not, Norris. No.
You're not even going to get a spelk.
Thank you for your optimism, though, Norris. But
I
didn't even touch the side. Sorry.
I don't know who that's.
What?
Like, I don't know who that's going to dig at. You or me, really?
You.
All I'm saying is I said something and then I heard that 3 seconds later.
Good.
Being said back to me.
What? They didn't touch the sides?
There was an echo.
Oh,
have you ever heard the expression "clown's pocket"?
I will drive to your house and in your face.
You got a paintbrush on your face. What the fuck is that?
It's a lymphatic drainage brush. It's a lymphatic drainage brush.
Like I'm supposed to know what that is. Just look like you just whipped out a paintbrush from being cute, started rubbing your face with it.
No, it drains excess fluid out of your face.
You've got a lot of excess fluid on your face, like.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what the fuck. Where's this come from?
You just asked me, do I have a lot of excess fluid on my face? Thank you, Debs.
Well, yeah, to the extent that you have to get a particular device to clean it up.
Disgusting. Did you hear what he said, guys? I mean, if anyone would know about excess fluid on my face, it would probably be him.
Right, I'm muting you and I'm saying thank you to you're dead to me. You're dead to me. Right, thank you, chat. 1 second, I'll just thank everyone. Bloody hell. Thank you, Bex. Thank you, Sam Clary. I don't know if I'm getting that name right. Sorry. Barbie Butt, interesting username. Thank you, Kim, Ruth, Louise, Rix's Wig, Soul Searcher, and Kaz. Thank you so much.
All right, I'll let you go with your Russell Brunson, but I will miss you all day long, and I will be thinking about you all day long. Call me later.
I won't call you later.
You absolute swine. He will call me later.
Will you call me?
It's always me that calls you, you fucker. Call me for a change.
But I don't know, like...
I'm not chasing. I know my worth and my value. Thank you.
I need a schedule. I need a I'm no good with this just off the cuff. Shall I ring somebody?
You're hard work. This is why you're single.
Happily, you could argue.
Right, piss off.
Bye, bitch. Right, okay, now we're being tortured by Remy. Thank you very much, chat. Let's see if we can watch this bloody thing. I'm not going to put the video of the interview on the screen because for some reason TikTok's been an absolute twat. But you should be able to hear the audio. So let's go for it.
Do you mind if I pray?
Sure.
Before?
Sure.
Oh, God, help us, Heaven.
I don't know where the truth lies. You're going to basically go through a process which could end up with you.
I know, Ruth, and honestly, I'm really bad with it. I really am.
Going to prison for a long period of time.
I did slink.
Shall I call Remy? Should I give her a call right now? Or should send me a voice note? When was that? Ages ago? Right. Not answering. There you go, chat, right? So now I've rang her, right? So if she complains in the future, I'll be like, well, I rang her. You didn't fucking answer. You know what I mean? I'll just tell her I came off me live and everything.
With a 16-year-old when I was 30.
Here in New York, it would have been a crime.
We are going to find out the truth. And if the truth is I am going to prison, my job will be, do not be afraid of that truth.
This
What the fuck? Honestly, Russell Brand is such a fucking prick, isn't he?
Bible, actually, I think it was this one you took into court.
I'm going to try it, I'm going to try and put the video, it's behind me. That's the best I can do because it seems to not like it. It seems to not like it, the old ticky-tocky. I'm jumping forward to the start. I'm not having all the recaps.
Almost everybody finds him fascinating. And in recent years, his mutual embrace of MAGA in America has kept people guessing. So too has the very public conversion to Christianity, which forms the subject of his new book.
I don't think that's surprising. He was looking for a defence shield for being a nuncy chops.
And surrounding it all, of course, are the very grave allegations that he's now fighting, all of which will make for, I'm sure, a very interesting, uncensored interview. Russell Brand joins me now. Russell, good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
It's sort of weird to see you in this context because
He's wearing a cross, right? I'm just going to move myself slightly. He's wearing a cross, which is almost comically large. Like, I'm a Christian, I'm a good person. Fuck off.
I first interviewed you in 2006, 20 years ago. We sat and did uproarious interview for GQ. I'll come to that in a moment. We did another big one for ITV, for my life story show about your whole extraordinary life. We did a big one at CNN here in New York when your divorce from Katy Perry was just coming through. So I feel like I've been around your world, your orbit, and I've seen
Yeah, well pointed out. Rick's just working.
you at lots of events and things along the way as well. But I don't really know you. Like, I know a bit about you. And I know you in a media context. I don't really know you. I wouldn't
Does Pierce actually grill him, though? I want to see him actually getting grilled, you know?
consider myself to be your friend.
Well, did you hear what Russell Brand said about the Katy Perry allegations? Obviously, there's a serious allegation at the moment that Katy Perry exposed her private area or put her private area in another woman's face or something. I don't know the exact extent of it. And Russell Brand said, I don't see the crime in that. Maybe it's the old version of me, but I don't see the crime in that. Tell me that this isn't creepy without, you know what I mean? Because there's such a changed and enlightened person. Somebody talks about an sexual assault, he goes, well, I don't see the crime in that. What?
Friend, or somebody that has an intimate knowledge of what you're really like. And one of the more interesting things about you, I would say, is that I don't know where the truth lies about these allegations. And I don't want to try and find out whether my instincts are one way or another. We can't talk about what's coming in October, the case, for legal reasons. It wouldn't feel right to me anyway to talk about it because you've got to go through the
How can he grill him if he can't ask him about it?
due process. But as we sit here, you're innocent till proven guilty. I believe fundamentally in that principle. You're entitled to due process. And to those who will criticize,
Thank you, Bex. Thank you so
as
much.
I'm sure some will, the mere fact I'm giving you a platform and interviewing you, I say that this matters. That due process matters. The presumption of innocence until proven
Okay.
guilty matters. And so in the context of that, I'm very happy to talk.
Suppose he's got to walk a fine line, Pierce, isn't he? He can't, just directly piss him off, because then he's just going to shut down. He's not going to get the interview. But I feel like he's very carefully, sort of going around the houses a little bit, not kissing his arse, but not going at him here as well.
To you. But given I've known you so long, my first question is just, how are you feeling about the fact that in a few months' time, in a southeast London courtroom with 12 jurors sitting there, you're going to basically
Yeah, there's a lot I don't like Pierce, about Pierce, but he has done some good interviews and got some good interviews that can't be denied. That's true. You clearly haven't watched him enough. He's what? No, I wasn't that wasn't a if Pierce just opened the interview by going, "I think you're wrong," and I think, then Russell Brand is obviously going to be like, right, well, I'm out, or I'm not fucking answering. That's what I was saying.
period of about 2 months, go through a
You don't just go rah at the start. You've got to build to anything like that.
process, which could end up with you going to prison for a long period of time if you're convicted. It's hard to imagine
Well, then, Frankie, that's a big responsibility for you. I'm sure you've got it.
on a human level a more tumultuous
I believe in you, Frankie.
thing to happen to you, not even given what you've been through in your life. So how are you feeling about it?
Tumultuous is a perfect word because it is like a storm. And sometimes I feel like I'm comfortable in the eye of the storm where there can be calm and
God, he's such a prick, isn't he? He just dances around every point using sort of flamboyant language that means nothing.
at least the capacity to observe. And at other times it feels all-consuming and frightening and pressurizing, like a storm also would be, in almost every conceivable way. I was just thinking, as you did that introduction, I reckon you write your stuff yourself. Did you write the introduction?
I have a writer, actually.
Oh, well, when you sort of the sort of variation that was introduced.
He was going to try and blow smoke up his ass there, wasn't he? What's he going to court for? Serious allegations, rape, all sorts of stuff. Like, I don't know what I can say on here.
Introduced, like he's revered or reviled, and sometimes I feel like I'm all those things, like a truth teller or silver tongue comic. And wow, I think it's a really good place to begin. One, how are you feeling, and also the principle of the presumption of innocence.
He's saying so many words without saying anything.
Because I think we are living in a hazy, fluxy time where people are very uncertain about truth in the broadest possible way.
That sounds like a crazy night. Are you enjoying last night's Chinese at least? Share some with the pigeon.
People are very uncertain about information in a way that feels like we're all navigating a quicksand and a new territory and a new terrain. And what I'm...
Who buys this crap? Who listens to this and thinks he's intelligent? Like, he's not even a clever narcissist. He's just... I mean, I've seen this stuff loads just in what I do on here. All this fluff and all this bluster and all this deflection. It's so transparent. It's so transparent, man.
Most interested in and what feels resonant to me, and I enjoy and appreciate at least your declaration of a lack of intimacy. And the reason for the lack of intimacy is I feel that in a way, Piers, because we're both English, we're around the same age, and we've both been in and around media, I sort of see in you this kind of, and don't take it because I'm going to play exactly the same thing to myself, this kind of cockroach power of like moving through these dreadful, dreadful worlds. And somehow
what the fuck is he talking about?
You still are online with your own show, riding.
Do you just compare themselves? Do you just compare both of them to cockroaches? Because cockroaches are hard to kill, basically. And then they've got through all these things. This is insane.
The wave of how media is operating now. People don't get to do that if they're a nobody. People don't get to do that if they don't have, I would say, certainly tenacity and strength. But when I was a kid, I used to watch that show like most people did.
And now we're on to his bloody childhood.
A lot of people at least.
It was a simple introduction. I don't even know what the original question was. He's waffling that much.
It's the word. And I remember you being on there. You were young, man. I bet you was 30. I think it was even when you were still showbiz at Bazaar.
Yeah, on the
which
Sun.
The Sun there, prior to being the Mirror editor.
Oh, great. You know Piers Morgan's history and bloody hell.
And I remember my mate at the time, we were like potheads and that, like saying, I like him. He was saying, when we're famous, because we weren't, and he still isn't, God love him though, but why not? Because that's another thing about when you move from any...
What the fuck? This is like random word generator stuff, this and that.
World, you see, who are the people that make it? Who are the ones that get churned up? Who are the ones that get elevated? Who are the ones that get destroyed? Who are the ones that get investigated? Who are the ones that don't? Who are the ones where the presumption of innocence is retained? Who are the ones where the presumption of innocence is stripped away? And my mate, he went, I like that, Piers Morgan. And I liked you too. Just as a person on the TV on the wall.
That's interesting. Liked, past tense. Past tense. He's saying a whole lot of nothing, but I think he was trying to blow smoke up Pierce's ass, but it's waffle.
Bird sat behind a panel, probably judging some audacious and absurd thing, because the word was all about people exposing their genitals and sort of the late night vulgarity. It was also sort of a kind of TV masterpiece, wasn't it, really?
Guy's up for some serious sexual assault charges. We'll just summarise it like that. And he's just said that about that kind of show.
Genitals and sort of the late night vulgarity. It was also sort of a kind of TV masterpiece, wasn't it, really?
I mean, you know what I mean? That's...
Anyway, then I would read The Sun every day. I would read The Sun every day and read your showbiz columns. I kind of really liked that. And then when I sort of saw how you had manoeuvred through these worlds, becoming Mirror editor as a very young man, weren't you, in your 30s? And I know that Rupert Murdoch, that Mephistophelian figure, that timeless man, about whom someone once told me, because I go, tell me something unique about Murdoch.
He's literally just trying to blow smoke up his arse. He's just saying you've moved from doing this job to that job and you've done this. And it's basically a very long way of saying, you know, licking his arse, basically.
Murdoch. Why is he the person he is? And this person goes, he lives like he's never going to die. And if some decision don't go his way, he's patient and he's cool. Oh, the merger's not worked out. It will work out. That's the power that a man can have to, in the case of Rupert Murdoch, one would say, influence significantly the trajectory of a nation, even in matters such as elections or wars. And so,
What the fuck?
in a sense, Piers, of course, as like Russell Brand from
Is you going to answer the question?
Grays, Essex, some bloke who was a crackhead and a heroin addict who married Katy Perry, who's now really just a married dad of 3, but also deeply fascinated.
Do you know what's weird? Russell Brand has almost had like a cult following. And a lot of people believe his BS and his bullshit. And when he's like streaming on other services that he uses and all that sort of stuff, he kind of gets away with it and these people sort of follow him and big him up. But when he's put on a big platform like this, when so many people can see him, you can just see all the bloody waffle, all the bloody bullshit. The everyday person sees straight through it.
With truth. I am fascinated with truth. And I believe such a thing is
With truth, how about you tell some?
possible. I don't believe in the post-structuralism. I don't believe that, no, well, everyone's got their own subjective truth, because I believe in God. Now,
What?
so with something like this impending trial, which you sort of, when we were chatting before, described as the elephant in the room, yeah, it's sort of like, it's sort of awesome. And I mean that literally.
It's awesome. 6 minutes of waffle to say being on trial for sexual assault is awesome. I swear to God. Oh my God. How is it kind of awesome, Russell? How?
I mean, it induces a terrifying, glorious awe. Because, like you, I look at the news the whole time, right? And I'll look at a story like what many people would refer to, and you would refer to, as a genocide in Gaza. And I
Like yourself?
think, wow, we consume so much information now. I find it hard even to connect with the human beings. Like, I can't take it when I
So to connect with the human beings, you have to be on trial for sexual assault. What the fuck?
see, and this individual father has lost this individual child. When it gets that close, you know, I can't really even take it. And say a story like this one, because I have a strong instinct, and I'd love to have the conversation I could have with you about how media operates, how media selects.
I genuinely think he's been talking for a solid 6 minutes. And I don't think he was even asked a question.
How media deselects, how media targets, that media is not new.
We're going to have to start writing down the question that he's being asked in the chat. And you guys are going to have to keep, like, reminding us of what is actually being asked.
Neutral, particularly traditional, conventional media. We're doing this interview in an Associated Press studio.
What do they call it? Word salad. That's it.
The Associated Press is a sort of a bastion of neutrality with how it's regarded. But if you investigate the inception and funding of the Associated Press, you will discover that it's like all media. It has a telos, an intention, a function. It's there for a reason. And you and me, we've lived in that world. We know things a lot of people don't know. You know stories that if they were
He's just saying that the media is like, you know, being famous or whatever, there's all sorts of wrong people and wrong things. Yeah, you're one of them.
printed, would blow some of the world's biggest stars out of the water forever. We know that. We live in that world. And more and beyond celebrity gossip, even though, gosh, to this day, people are fascinated and allured by it. Important stuff, man, about corruption and the world's most powerful people. We know it. And it's hard to communicate it. Sometimes it's difficult to corroborate it. Sometimes it's imprudent to say it because of personal reasons. You've got to survive in this world. You have survived.
Somebody should try quoting back to him what he is saying and ask him to explain it. He'd probably just go on another diatribe like this.
In this world. Where I am now is I feel like I've been on trial my whole life anyway. The whole thing's been a trial. I'm just some kid from Grays. I've been a heroin addict. I'm the only child of a single mother.
Oh my gosh, the appeal to that I'm the everyman. I've been through this, I've been through that. I'm just the every guy. I should be treated like, you know. It's just, honestly, it's so transparent.
The whole thing's a trial. I go to jail. The thing is, I believe in God. I've always believed in God. It is different to believe in Jesus. It is different, and I'm
Oh, God. Now we're going to have 2 minutes of him explaining that.
really aware that some people just think it's...
But have you thought, I mean,
Yeah, thank fuck, Pierce. Jesus. Right, everyone listen to Pierce's question. I hope to God he asks a question. I mean, I'm hoping that you guys will keep writing the question in the chat so we know.
have you thought about the reality of losing your liberty?
Yes.
Of, night one in a cell, and that's going to be your life for a few years. In other words, the worst case scenario, which everybody who faces a criminal trial has to contemplate.
And all of us.
Of
all
course,
the time.
of course.
All of us, all the time. Not all of us, all the time, don't have to worry about being in a jail cell. He's now going to say this. I bet he's going to go into like the freedom of people, your freedoms being taken away, as like a generalization. We're talking specifically about you being locked up for being a serial sex offender.
day.
But have you thought about that moment, if that clanking door shuts and you lose your liberty, how you would deal with that?
I will be with God wherever I am, and of course I would prefer to be with God with my wife and my kids.
I'll be with God wherever I am. I would prefer to be with God as free and not in jail if possible. No shit, Sherlock. Jesus Christ.
See, this is what I have to do. I'm not saying that that's not a difficult image, and a difficult thing to contemplate. Of course it is. But in fact, actually what I was trying to get to, but I recognise I pirouette some when I start talking.
Pirouette some? You mean talk shite?
Was the hardest thing is knowing that in spite of all the potential reasons that I'm in this situation, that there are people in this world that feel so aggrieved about their contact with me that they are willing to go through this process. That is a very difficult thing to countenance, and a real
So you're just not answering the question, is
challenge, and something that in whatever ways are necessary must be addressed. And it is comforting to think that there could be justice, that there could be. We are going to find out the truth, and we're going to deal with the truth. Because actually, I am not afraid of the truth. And if the truth is I am going to prison, then my job will be, do not be afraid of that truth. That is what you are going to do.
When I interviewed you...
So, Pierce just asked, how would you feel when you're in a jail cell? And your answer was, we can't be afraid of this question. Well, answer it.
The GQ. I went and found it yesterday.
Oh yeah. Oh my
It was
word. Tell me, darling.
literally 20 years ago. It was March
Hey, Pandora.
2006. We met at a trendy bistro near Tottenham Court Road in London. That was the first time I'd ever interviewed you. You were 31 at the time.
Wow.
And I was quite gushing. I said I assumed I'd find Brand irritating, pointless, and easy target, but I was wrong. He was charming, articulate, outrageous, and very, very funny. We roamed through 2 hours through his extraordinary life, a non-stop orgy of comedy, drugs, bulimia, hookers, four-in-a-bed romps, and celebrity bed
Jesus.
notches. And then, for some reason, I asked you halfway through, are you a more successful sexual predator now that you don't...
Oh! Shit, Pierce. Yes, Pierce. Eventually put that sort of thing to him. I've gone back on that so we can listen to that again. Pierce.
I asked you halfway through, are you a more successful sexual predator now that you don't drink? And you replied, yes, but I resent the word predator. I like to think of myself as a conduit of natural forces. After all, the most
He's laughing. He's got no idea. He doesn't know what to say.
natural thing in the world for people to do is fuck, isn't it?
Oh, golly.
And people want to do it. So all you have to do is remove all the reasons why women don't actually go through with it,
Jesus, that statement alone is mental.
like pride and reputation. You just have to unpick the conditions stopping women going straight to bed with you.
But to be fair, Pierce is just quoting his own words back to him. It's fucking insane, isn't it? You hear these often when people are sort of exposed who have been prolific offenders for years within the entertainment industry, and you hear the interviews that they've done before and footage, and you're like, shit, how did nobody pick up on these red flags, you know?
That sounds like charm, seduction, game. Do you remember in the era immediately prior to this one? And one would have to accept that Me Too redressed in 2015 when that happened a dreadful imbalance in male-female power dynamics that is good that there's an ongoing conversation and that some of the corruption and exploitation in that is being exposed and explored. And what that was there at 31 Man, that was, I forget, because being famous has been for me, it sounds like you enjoy it more than I do, but for me it's been like...
There's a double-edged sword for everyone.
I don't know, like, I mean, there's bits I've really liked, and what that I can hear in that lovely piece of writing is that I was into it, and I...
What? Women often do pick up on these comments, but no one cares. Do you know what, Yasmin? That's a fair thing to say. That is a truly fair thing to say.
Forget that now. Like, even talking to you about football can be hard, because I really love West Ham. That's my, like, when there was a little boy, when there was a teenager, and then suddenly I'm with Cameron Brady, and
the word salad on this is insane.
I'm with the Sullivan et al., you know, but now, because, like, I have a different view of the culture now, Piers, and I'm afraid, like, I regard it as evil in a word.
I think fame can be one of the most insidious drugs of all.
Certainly it is, but what is it?
The craving that people have for it, and then actually the cold, hard reality of how it warps a lot of people's values, a lot of the way that they behave.
Yes.
All those things. I see it all the time.
Yes. What does it do to... I mean, and also...
It's like any drug. I think it's like any drug. It's like cocaine. It's like all these things.
But I don't know whether Piers has been successfully taken off the point here, because now they're just talking about the addiction and the influence of wanting to become famous, which doesn't really answer why he was saying those things about breaking away women's reasons for not sleeping with him, etc.
It is a drug that people crave it.
That's fair, Charlie, you know.
And they want more and more of it, and then there's usually at some stage, unless they're incredibly strong, mentally strong, there's no...
There's a second chat, I need to nip for a wee, because I'm a big boy. And I will be back in 1 second. What we on likes-wise? Can we see if we can get to 35k likes by the time I get back? And I'll literally be a couple of seconds. What are we going to put on?
Well now, we call this the act of...
Good.
Normally a tipping point where the reality of big fame hits hard, and you know, the show business is littered with the professional carcasses of people that then couldn't deal with the downside of it.
Maybe if we replace the word drug with stimulant, it becomes clearer to understand that you are stimulated by your own fame, by your own reputation. Now, even a person that's not famous, and obviously most people aren't, except for Warhol's perspicacious and proverbial 15
What the fuck is he on about now?
minutes, which of course has happened now. All of us have the idea that there's an object of ourselves that people are commenting on, a facade, a mask. Obviously the word hypocrite comes from mask wearer. Now, you have an identity in public, I have an identity in public, and what I can hear there, man, and it warms me, is I was being 100% honest. And I'm being 100% honest now. I'm not afraid of the truth. So if justice is real, if telling the truth is how a person's meant to...
You saw me ring Remy after she asked me, and now she's texted me, why did you ring me? Because she asked me. Admittedly, she didn't expect me to ring her immediately after the request, but still.
Operate. I was telling the truth then, and I can sort of, I can feel that. I mean, 31, you know, it's that.
Afternoon.
That sounds like a 19-year-old, really, but I was stunted in many ways, like a lot of crackheads and smackheads. You kind of.
Oh my God! Once again, looking for the sympathy vote.
Formaldehyde yourself in addiction somewhat, and that's like someone that's. I remember the rush of first becoming famous, of the glory of it. Not only the superficial glory of like going from being poor to not being poor, and going to like, oh, it's embarrassing and difficult to chat up women, to, oh my God, look at this, but also the sense that a world that had been saying no, you can't, suddenly was saying.
So he basically said that he had to remove the reasons that women had for not sleeping with him to be able to sleep with him. And this long-winded fucking response is, well, when I was famous, people wanted to sleep with me. Well, that completely undermines the comment that you made then, doesn't it? Because you're talking about somebody's obviously refused consent, and then you are purposely looking for a way to remove that refusal. Like, what the fuck? Like, this makes no sense. This is word salad, constantly word salad.
Yes, like yes, you can have a TV show. Yes, you can be on the radio. Yes, you can have a book. Yes, you can. Yes, like it was sort of beautiful. There was something about it that was amazing. I mean, creatively. I mean, like that to be able to do, you know, to have an interview with you and to opine and for someone to care when you've felt very small all your life. Like I think a lot of people probably do, because I think this world makes you feel small. Indeed, makes you feel irrelevant. Just like if I'm not famous, if I'm not important, if I'm not.
Not the James Danvers deep cut.
Sleeping around or driving this car. I'm sort of really curious about, like, say the thing with you and the lad HS Tiki Toki and Andrew Tate. These sort of new stars that are post the era that you and I are from.
Can we bring Russell back to the point? Is there any way that I don't know? Like sometimes when you're interviewing people like this, you kind of want them to just fucking talk, so that they will sort of dig their own grave. But this is unbearable in a way, like, isn't it?
I really highly regard their boldness. Even in both of the instances just cited, they're bold men. I like that. But they are still advocating for a set of values that clearly I advocated for in a somewhat more camp way, even then. That if you aren't sleeping around with a bunch of women, you ain't worth much. And if I can get one thing across to you today, I want it to be that being in Christ and like being in God, it gives me the strength to recognize, you might have to go to jail, but people go to jail. That's the thing that happens to people in the world. And people
who have done things
to jail that shouldn't have gone to jail.
What I find most sort of interesting when I read that GQ thing, it was like all the things I said, it was highly...
Just an absolute load of waffle, wasn't it, chap?
Entertaining, made me laugh out loud. It did again when I read it the other day. But obviously you read it with a slightly different context given what's happened to you. You're very, like, honest, open, brazen, some might say. You admitted you slept with thousands of women, sometimes 2 at a time, 3 at a time. You were very like, this is all a bit of a laugh. And you were taking a lot of drugs through the late 90s, early 2000s. And my question for you is that obviously you're facing these serious charges. Obviously you've been emphatic and consistently emphatic in your denials that you've done anything criminal and that anything was non-consensual, which will be the key determinant of your liberty, actually, whether a jury agrees that this was all consensual. You know, putting aside the morality aspect, and we'll come to that, which is an interesting, different discussion. But
is this trial in October? Is this trial in October?
It's not about crime morality. It's a court of public opinion, perhaps, but it's a different thing. But my question, I think, looking back on it, and the lifestyle that you've talked about very openly now, looking back on that and saying, look, I was out of control, taking all these drugs, sleeping with all these women, whatever, is how can you be sure that your own memory is good, is sound, is reliable, is
That's a good question.
Truthful. Most people who've slept with thousands of women and taken barrel loads of drugs and led this incredibly hedonistic lifestyle, I would think if I interviewed them and asked them to name even what year it was,
possibly Pandora,
would struggle to remember. Can you be certain, if you're honest, that your memory is completely sound, accurate? Do you remember half this stuff?
Well, yes, I can be honest.
It's a relevant question, isn't it?
Of course it is. Yes, I can be honest, and I am honest. And
so Pierce's question is clearly, you claim to have slept with thousands of women. Can you 100% guarantee that your memory is sound with these particular women that have come forward? Are you 100% sure that you remember everything? It should be a very simple question to answer. However, I'd imagine Russell's going to spend about 15 minutes talking about irrelevant shite.
I think what's an important distinction is that I was a drug addict prior
I was going to use that.
to becoming famous. So that was a very different rhythm and time. And I
What?
think the question was, has it made you a more successful predator? And even then, I objected to the idea of predation
Yeah, you did.
as persecutory, but predation is simply an amplification of looking for something with intention.
Did he just play down what a predator is? Did he just play down what being referred to as a predator is? It fucking seemed like it.
And the reason I wasn't famous when I was still using drugs, Piers, is because when I was a drug addict, I was an unviable economic proposition for potential media partners. The reason that I'm able to remember is something that I think is sort of
Really, Brain Junkie? Was there any clips on TikTok, or where did you watch that? That sounds interesting, actually. I like stuff like that.
quite essential, is that I'm telling the truth in that GQ article, amidst the sort of flamboyance and the evident hedonic, is a person that was looking for a lot of attention and
Thank you, Junkie.
approval and love and connection. Now that doesn't mean that there weren't clumsiness and that there wasn't
Clumsiness. Sexual assault. You take the piss.
selfishness and objectification and lots of things that, to your point about there being a moral distinction, flat out wrong. But it's very different than a kind of a bawdy, overbearing, oppressive, controlling.
This guy is insane.
But, obviously I'm aware of the sort of claims that were made
He should be asked for the definition of some of the words he uses. I swear to God, he probably wouldn't know.
publicly in the documentary, and I'm not sure to which degree. What makes part of this so complicated is this all happened subsequent to a documentary, and as a journalist that journalists are not held to the same level of I want to say integrity as an investigator of a legal matter. That if you're a journalist talking to someone, like even you now, you know how to navigate me into certain positions. If you were talking to someone, or 100 someones, or 500 people saying, look, you slept with Russell Brand, what happened? Well, someone else has told me this. It's quite easy in a non-legal and non-judicial.
So is he now trying to imply that people who've came forward about him could have been influenced by other people to basically say bullshit? Is that what he's trying to imply here, chat? Because it's so hard to keep up with his word salad, like genuinely is.
Setting to induce, encourage and direct people to look at things in a particular way. And I think once that artefact has been made, I'm certainly not making claims about the criminal judicial system, which I, like you, believe will provide a just outcome. Because ultimately, I think whatever outcome occurs, like as you say, I have to live with that, and will do, obviously. But how does one remember? Yes, it is a long time ago, but firstly, I was never drinking or taking drugs. I think people conflate, because some of the films I played drug addicts and drug users and stuff. Frankly, all of the films I made, there wasn't an enormous range at hand there in that film career there. But the reason I remember is because I was there, because I'm present, and because the whole
The fuck hell, honestly.
thing was very live and alive. I have a good memory, and particularly, obviously, this is something I've had to reflect on and go.
You were clean from 2002.
What?
December the 13th, 2002 is the date I got.
Some of the allegations go back to 99, so there must have been some crossover.
Oh, Pierce, yes. Got him on the timeline. So he's trying to say that he does remember explicitly because he was present, he has a good memory, and Pierce's question obviously was around his memory. Then Pierce has just pulled the old, well, you were clearly taking drugs when some of these allegations were supposed to have occurred,
Well, without wanting to get into the specificity of the criminal matter, that's...
Well, you're not getting into it. You're not being specific when you're talking about a broad date, as in you were sober from this date. Some of the allegations are further back. That's not specific.
Not generally the complexion, and in the
What?
variation from that generality, there are other indicators that make it clear that my memory is reliable.
The fuck? So, yes, I might have been on drugs at that point, but there are other indicators that my memory was great. What are those indicators and dipshit? Like, literally, what? This is nothing words. This means nothing.
The
Means nothing.
interesting thing, I was listening to your Megyn Kelly interview yesterday, and it's blown up. We're both in New York, and you know it's blown up big in America today. A lot of people commenting about this. Let's play the clip for those who haven't heard it.
In Europe and in the United Kingdom where I'm from, the age of consent is 16, and I did sleep with a 16-year-old when I was 30. But when I was 30, I was a very different person. I was a lot younger, and I was an immature 30-year-old. Consensual sex,
Immature with 30-year-old. I hope Pierce pushes him on this.
actually, with a variety of people, when there is a strong power differential, as there is when you're a famous man that has the ability to attract women that I had at that time, I think involves exploitation.
What's been interesting is the way that's played out, because you were right in what you said. It was perfectly legal for you to have sex with a 16-year-old girl in the UK. That's the law. In America, here in
Come on. Push him.
New York, for example, the age of consent is 17. So here it would have been a crime had you done that here. But I looked at every state in America because I thought it was I saw some people commenting on this on social media. In about 30 states in America, the age of consent is 16, the same as the UK. I'm not even sure most Americans are aware of that. About another dozen states it's 17, another dozen or so it's 18. So there's no uniformity around America, but actually in the majority of states in America it's the
Thank you, Brain Junkie. Thank you so much.
same as the United Kingdom, and therefore would not be a crime. Now again, people can take a moral view about it. I think you took a moral view about what you were doing then. Interestingly, the GQ interview happened when you were about that age.
Yeah.
So it was going on then. And
Oh, Pierce. With the timeline. It's good.
you used the word
Yeah, Bonnie, we live reacted to it when it premiered on Twitch a while ago now, wasn't it?
exploitative. Some people I've seen latch onto this and say, well, yeah, so he knows what he's doing is wrong. He knows that was wrong. What is that line for you between exploiting as a 30-year-old man a 16-year-old girl to the point where it becomes criminal potentially? What is that line for you?
He does not look happy. He does not look happy being asked that question. This is the most I've seen him in this interview where the mask is slightly dropped and he looks like he's staring him down a bit. Like, I know it's difficult for you guys to see because obviously I've got to have this filter thing on, but he doesn't look happy with that question.
I suppose it's consent, Piers.
Right.
That the age of consent means in varying ways, in different places, people have a understanding which probably isn't wholly accurate and reliable, that at a certain age a person is able to make a consensual decision to smoke a cigarette or vote or have sex or gamble, and these things vary according to jurisdiction and type of law. And in the place where I was both emotionally and spiritually,
This is insane. Imagine trying to talk away this.
and geographically, that was a legal thing to be doing, but not a morally sound thing to be doing.
I've been struck by a lot of people on the conservative right in America are furious about what they perceive to be a revelation. It wasn't a revelation to me because it's been talked about before and reported widely. Are you taken aback because you've moved here, you live in Florida, you've sort of embraced the MAGA movement to a degree, not completely, but to a degree. You've written a book.
He looks so smarmy. He looks so smarmy. This can't have been a good interview for him. surely whoever like manages him must have been like, oh my fuck, you have dug your own grave.
How to become a Christian in 7 days. And you obviously are a different person now, there's no question of that. But are you taken aback by the reaction to what you said to Megyn Kelly, the fury from a lot of people on the conservative Christian right here?
Often, I'm surprised all the time by stuff, but
What a fucking answer. Fuck hell. This absolute prick. Honestly. Good God. He cannot answer anything specifically at all. Are you surprised that people are not happy with what you said about the 16-year-old? I get surprised by shit all the time. I see stuff all the time. I go, oh my God. Sometimes I walk around the corner and somebody's standing there. I go, oh shit, I get a surprise. Honestly, it's happened loads. The fuck are you talking about? He's so generic and like word salady. It's unreal. It's actually unreal.
if people think it's wrong for, I mean, like, I'm a Christian and I'm serious about it. I think that the only safe place to have sex is within marriage. So I agree.
You fucking. Well, that obviously wasn't happening for a long time. You claim to have slept with thousands of women.
Agree with them. I agree with them. It's very difficult to. You asked at the beginning of our conversation, what are the challenges? Well, the challenges are a criminal judicial proceeding that's about law and consent, a PR situation that's about people's feelings and sentiments that often cross over, what the compromises and flaws are.
Thank you, Kimmy. Thank you.
Are in a media, judicial and legal system that are plainly somewhat symbiotic and porous. There's a lot of different things happening, but I think the sort of probably the simplest thing for me to focus on is, should I have been doing that? And the answer is, in retrospect, no. And what's a bit difficult is how,
in retrospect,
we all, and I presume you're the same, feel like, well, whatever we did in the past, it's made us the person that we are today, and it's difficult to make that claim when you have to acknowledge that your actions have caused distress.
The girl concerned in that story.
So he's like, well, yes, I might have abused my power and position to sleep with a 16-year-old, but it made me the person I am today, so isn't it worth it? That's basically what he said, right?
We can discuss that because it was from the documentary and it's not part of your legal case. But she dated you for 3 months when she was 16. She described you referring to her as the child, sending cards to collect her from school, coaching her on what to tell her parents, made allegations about the sexual interactions you had, suggesting that you forced yourself in certain ways and so on. But she's not part of the legal case, and let's be clear about that. So there's no suggestion of criminality.
She's not part of the legal case. I didn't know that. I thought she was.
It's been levelled at you legally. But when you hear that account, what do you feel about the fact you were nearly twice her age, she was only 16, and you're picking her up from school?
About boring you?
All that kind of thing. What do you feel about it?
Well, I think some of those details are pretty important and relevant, and how I feel about it is, as I've said, it's not nice to know that my actions have contributed to a person suffering, and there should be there must be justice for that. The context in which those consensual encounters were happening was a sort of merry deluge of constant consensual activity that was very, very difficult to sometimes believe was happening, but one adjusts to those kind of conditions. And I would say peers on a personal level, yes, of course that's wrong. It's morally and spiritually wrong. It's legal. It's not a legal issue.
He keeps saying it's morally wrong. Yes, it's not a legal issue. Morally wrong. It's not a legal issue. Yeah, definitely. Oh, I regret. It's not a legal issue. Fuck off.
But I don't want to try to minimise my actions anyway. I'm fully culpable and absolutely happy. Not happy.
Sorry.
willing, of course, to deal with the consequences of my actions, not so willing to deal with consequences of actions that were not undertaken. I think that's a really important distinction to remind you and your audience of. And also, I suppose, it seems like a deliberate removal of context not to continually...
A removal of context? You were twice her age and she was 16. What fucking context do you think we need? Hey, Tony, what advice and context do you think anybody needs?
Cement that famous men that are single have always and typically behaved in this manner. One prays consensually, but one also suspects that there's a responsibility incumbent on people that have that power, whether that power is magnetism or whether that power is fame or whether that power is money or whatever that power is. It's not very easy to live a moral life in a culture that really openly rewarded. Were you still at the Sun when I was being Shagger of the Year? This one I was being, I was literally being given awards for it.
No, I mean,
Yes, he was being given awards for Shagger of the Year, wasn't he? But I don't think the reward was being given because... Sorry, chat. Because you were sleeping with a child. Right, absolutely not. Regardless, that award... I mean, how vile is that? The fact that was an award.
So, of course, it's really terrible.
I'd actually left the Sun, but the Sun had an award called Shagger of the Year, and you won it a couple of times, I think.
3 times.
And it was, yeah.
Some of the glories faded.
Right, but it...
Some of the glories faded. He's absolutely tone deaf. He's so fucking stupid and thinks he's so fucking clever. This glory day almost that he's portraying is when you were sexually assaulting people, according to the people who've come forward, and sleeping with 16-year-olds. Insane.
Amidst the rape allegations, the Shagger of the Year titles do not seem quite as valuable, I'll have to confess.
Right.
I can't believe he fucking just said that. I can't believe he just said that. I have to listen to that again.
Shagger of the Year titles do not seem quite as valuable, I'll have to confess.
Right, but
some of the shines come off.
Well, the point I would make is, at the time, everyone embraced it.
Some of the shine has got... What?
As good fun. You were seen as this big shagger,
yeah.
And it was all very funny and entertaining, and nobody at the time was coming forward to say this was rape, sexual assault, or anything else. And that was the context of that time.
Yes.
Now, it obviously is a very different thing about it.
Well, I'll ask you something as a journalist. Also, during Me Too, no one came forward. In fact, people came forward subsequent to a very deliberate...
Do you know what this screams of? This screams of, you know, like with Savile's victims, when Savile's victims came forward and people said, why did it take them so long? Why did it take them so long? This is what this screams of, this statement he's making here.
Documentary. And I feel that, therefore, it's difficult to remove the documentary from the...
You know, like, why didn't they come out? Why didn't they come out in the Me Too movement? The fuck?
Chronology, because it's sort of an important artifact in there, and I'll just will point that out and how difficult that makes it, even our conversation, the idea of a fair trial, an ongoing conversation, because I would say literally precisely the same behaviour that was lauded, consensual, excessive sex.
It's interesting he's talking about a fair trial there, because I wonder whether he's cleverly trying to put that out, because obviously you can get a trial dismissed, pardon me, if you feel that you can't get a fair trial based on jury bias, for example. So like everybody in the, you know, in the public domain has already decided he's guilty, so because of that I won't get a fair trial. It's interesting that he's mentioned that so like straight down the nose, you know.
It was reframed when it became convenient, appropriate and useful as non-consensual, and now we have
as useful
a method and means for dealing with a potentially difficult situation. Now, I wouldn't be so grandiose as to suggest that I am the situation. The situation is something that you do know a lot about. Media has changed from centralised media with a degree of centralised control with rare anomalies, but let's take the COVID example as primary.
The fuck now he's going to start talking about COVID? Fuck me. Honestly.
If you were working in mainstream media during COVID, you would have a pretty prescriptive approach. Indeed, you had that approach. Subsequent to COVID and amidst the pandemic period, inquiries and questions were made in real time. In fact, I participated significantly in that. And it's a matter of public record that Logically AI, who worked for Moderna, Pfizer and the British government, dealt with my content, de-amplifying.
What the hell has that got to do with anything? What has that got to do with anything? Because you spoke about COVID during COVID. It's got absolutely nothing to do with this.
Commenting on, and indeed the 77th Brigade, a PSYOPs organisation that primarily works in foreign territories with the British military during the COVID period, worked in the UK to, and this is a direct quote from I think the Times, take down social media influencers. Now,
what's that got to do with this? What has that got to do with this?
There's an obvious clear distinction between my reckless, lascivious conduct, about which I was open and honest, indeed your own words demonstrate that, contemporaneously, and the obvious retrospective damage that's now done. It's difficult not to imagine that a documentary made in the midst of my own conflict, ongoing conflict with mainstream media, which, to be plain and frank, I regard as akin to evil. What I mean by that is I think it primarily exists not to give people true information, but to maximize people's vulnerability and the ability of powerful interests to exploit and control people.
Can I just, on that...
Pierce, yeah, can you just, yeah, I would like you to Pierce just say, can I just shut you the fuck up, like, you start ruffling on, please.
Point.
Yes, you can, but remember, be careful because of the legal situation.
No,
I just want to land fully that when a country and a country's media treat its own population as a kind of invaded and occupied territory, we should pay attention to that.
Do you see that? He gave him a warning because he thought Pierce was going to push and ask a question that he didn't want answering.
That there was a military operation took place in this country, the United States, and in our beloved country, the United Kingdom. And there's a reason now, Piers, that people from farmers to the white working class to almost every aspect of British public life is alive and febrile with hostility, anger and confusion. The systems are breaking down. The systems are breaking down because of the technology. When Breitbart said brilliantly that politics is downstream of culture, perhaps we could have included that technology is very near the top of that stream, not the absolute source. But technology...
I think he's panicking. Hey, and I know he's been waffling this whole time, but he tried to warn Pierce. Pierce was coming in and he knew that he was going to ask a more direct thing. And then he tried to warn Pierce about, remember, about the legal things, I can't do that. And then he's just gone with the waffle.
He's changing everything.
No, I agree with that, but let me ask you, why would the state, the establishment, why would they come after you particularly? I mean, you were doing a YouTube channel, you were doing your thing, you were having opinions, but a gazillion people were doing that. This sense that you were somehow singled out, targeted deliberately, that all these allegations are only because you, Russell Brand, was saying stuff about a COVID pandemic or whatever. A lot of people think that's honestly bullshit. I was like, come on.
Yes, Pierce. Somebody needed to say it to him. Somebody.
Come on, Russell. It's not that. And when they hear you be, I wouldn't say you're dismissing it, but when you say but when you say
absolutely not,
but when people say also,
I also think that's quite reductive, if I may say, the way that you've sort of framed it, because it is not just me. I mean, the idea that there is not a set of powers that manipulate the public conversation in the wake of Charlie Kirk's murder, the annihilation or near annihilation, which you obviously survived, of Joe Rogan, the vilification of admittedly controversial figures like Tommy Robinson or Andrew Tate, and I'm not trying to set myself up in a rogues gallery here, but Piers, you've operated in media for long enough and with enough depth and understanding to recognise that there are flavours and ways of handling obstreperous public figures. And I don't think of myself as particularly
more bullshit.
Really important.
more of this playing down language of, oh, I'm a flamboyant person, blah blah blah.
I know that.
That's really my point. My point is, I just don't think that you were I mean, I don't mean this to be remotely derogatory.
No, but I'm not actually...
Because you had a very popular channel and lots of people were watching it. It's not that. It's just, I don't think that your influence in any of those debates would have warranted the establishment going, right, we've got to silence Russell Brand.
Yes, I think you're right. And I think it's that kind of reductivism that stops people having a clear view of how these systems work. And sometimes it's good to take recourse to some of the great American comedians, as Carlin says, where interests converge, no conspiracy is necessary. You know that deep state...
Yes, Merlin does stand on my desk watching the street while I'm streaming. And when I'm filming my YouTube and editing, so that I just have Merlin just sat here. Hello. Say hello. Come here. Over here. Yes. I can't see half of the screen half the time because Merlin's leaning on it.
State organisations are nebulous as well as nefarious, that they operate in ways that are difficult to understand, that there is a kind of overall intention. You know that there was a point where mainstream media recognised we're going to have to pivot radically. We're not selling newspapers anymore. People are getting their news from different sources. People are having different conversations. People are starting to not trust en masse. Like, think about this as a good metric, if you'll indulge me. Say, like, if like 20, 30 years ago, when people would talk about someone like Alex Jones, and let's not talk about me, let's just go with, you know, that I've got a criminal trial, and quite right, and by God's grace, the right outcome will prevail. And
the fuck? Honestly, this guy.
Whatever that is, then that's God's will. But on the matter of, is there such a thing as controlling the media, and is there collateral damage in when you're controlling a narrative? Did people want a particular style of reporting and particular information to be prevalent during the pandemic period? Yes. Well,
but what's that going to do? Like, it's sort of like a loosely veiled thing that he's putting out here, that in some way this trial is relating to the fact that he spoke out about COVID or whatever. Fuck off.
The voice is shut down. Was information controlled? Yes. Do people get de-amplified?
Yes.
Do people get kicked off X the whole time?
But I would argue a public...
And imagine 30 years ago.
Yes, they do, but then they don't get a load of people to make up allegations like this and take you to court over it. Because something like that's too messy if there's a load of lies. Somebody would get tripped up or found out to be bullshitting.
I would argue a public health crisis of that magnitude globally.
You did argue it, Piers, and one of the main reasons that you remain contentious is because you advocated...
Yeah, Piers did exactly the same sort of stuff.
Aimed people into getting vaccines, and we now know those vaccines have killed more people
you don't need to hector
than they say. I'm not hectoring you.
No, I'll tell you why. Because unlike most people...
You've repeatedly apologised.
Yes, and I've said, you know what, I believed...
Now,
hang on. You've raised it, so let me address it, because I've heard what you said about this, and I don't blame you. I mistakenly, with hindsight, accepted the real-time scientific advice, which often changed. And in particular, when they said, if you have the vaccine against COVID, you cannot transmit the virus.
Was a lie.
I thought that was an incredibly powerful thing.
And an untrue thing.
Which meant that, you know, some old person walking around might be infected by some reckless young guy who doesn't want to have the simple jab, and he may kill that person. It turned out that was not true.
So what do you
wait, let me finish. I became incredibly sensible.
He will not let him finish, will he? He will not let him finish, which is insane. So, once again, TikTok, and I'll say it again, prolonged actions that last sustained engagement. Chat, do you feel engaged? Such as remaining off screen while I'm right here, so I don't know, like bang in the middle of the screen. TikTok is so broken, it's ridiculous. Honestly, the random things that they come out with on here is insane. I'm pretty sure some things they just want to completely shut down.
Stories of people who wouldn't have the jab for a period of a few months. And then when they changed the advice, I felt I had actually, in the initial moment, abrogated my journalistic duty.
Yes.
What I should have done was
Yes.
be more sceptical,
Yes.
be more challenging,
Yes.
and
Yes.
certainly be less censorious and judgmental.
Good.
Accepting that in a
But if Piers has already apologised for that and Russell knows that, then Russell's just deflected onto this.
fast-moving health emergency, the advice is likely to change.
Of course.
So I accept all that.
No, you don't actually, because-
But where we're different is this. I still believe that the vaccine saved millions
yes.
of lives.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Just chill with us for now.
Yes.
You
A lot
prob-
of people don't. No, I don't.
You don't. I
And
know, but I do.
Good. Okay, that's good. That will be something you'll potentially be adjusting in the future, Piers. And when you
I
do,
don't think so.
you may have another mea culpa to offer to your audience,
Maybe.
because it seems significant to me that that crisis benefited some very powerful interests, granted further governmental powers, instantiated the ability to govern at a global level.
Oh, shit. Mother move, son. Thank you. Sorry,
People
chap.
don't, no, I don't.
You don't. I
And
know, but I do.
Good. Okay, that's good. That will be something you'll potentially be adjusting in the future, Piers. And when you
I
do,
don't think so.
you may have another mea culpa to offer to your audience,
Maybe.
because it seems significant to me that that crisis benefited some very powerful interests, granted further governmental powers, instantiated the ability to govern at a global level, revealed just how willing people would be to take a medicine of
What an absolute load of waffle. What an absolute load of waffle. And I think Russell's actually done a good way of deflecting Piers here, because he's now just starting to show the about COVID and people calling out COVID and all of this sort of crap. He's managed to manoeuvre the conversation a little bit, which with somebody like him who's just putting out word salad constantly, it's probably quite hard to keep them on track.
concoction, let's call it a little more accurately, it seems like it might be extremely deleterious, causing infertility, miscarriage, myocarditis, and that was something that was undertaken with a degree of complicity, at
Do you
least.
believe in vaccines generally?
I have the kind of questions that anyone that's paying
I
attention
mean, there was a
to
measles,
media...
a little outbreak of measles recently. Even RFK was giving evidence yesterday and said he absolutely believes in the measles vaccine. In fact, he said, "I'm not."
My God, we're under vaccinations now. I swear to God. It's my fidget, Merlin. You do not like it.
Anti-vax at all. In fact, he said, "I support most vaccines." He had legitimate questions about the COVID vaccine because of the speed at which that was designed.
Yes.
In your case, are you anti all vaccine?
No, I don't...
Or which vaccines do you accept are good?
Calm down and slow...
Calm down and slow down. How patronising.
Well, no, it's a serious question.
I understand it's a serious question. Of course it is, but I want you to calm down and slow down.
Very calm.
Because, well, then, in which case, unyoke yourself from the conditioning of the
What the actual shit? How patronising.
world you've found yourself
Hey, Vicky.
in. See, when Chomsky, and there's a guy whose reputation's changed, said to Andrew Marr, in response to Andrew Marr's, "Well, I've not been conditioned by the BBC. They've not told me what questions I can ask and what my perspective should be." And Chomsky said to Andrew Marr, "No, what I'm telling you is that if you didn't have the right opinions and the right perspectives, you wouldn't be sitting in that chair. Now, you and I have moved
Who knows? One and only who knows?
between many chairs. We've seen what goes on at the Daily Mirror. We know what happens.
Unyoke yourself. It's actually pretty wild, isn't it? Pretty wild when you think about it.
We know how people get information. And I know your position on the most public things. And I want to talk to you just as a person that survived in this
Yeah, but
world,
on vaccines.
No, look, vaccines. I'm not an expert on vaccines. I don't know anything about
Are there
vaccines.
are there any
on-
vaccines that you think are good?
It's not something I'm interested in. I don't
But
think...
you're very
But you've just brought it up for bloody God only knows how long.
interested in it. You talked about it a lot.
No, I'm interested in truth. And where truth and vaccines intersect, I'm interested in that, Piers.
So let me.
What? Like, hold on. With all of this going on, with all of the upcoming trial, with the complexity of contemporary media, with a country in tumult, with crisis and...
Turmoil. It's turmoil, Russell. Turmoil.
Protest and war, you care what the guy from Sarah Marshall and GQ thinks about vaccines. Well, maybe then my opinion is worth paying attention to.
Well, that's my point.
And particularly if you
That's
have
my point. Either you think it is important or you don't.
What I think is important is being able to tell the...
I don't think it's important. Is you deflect onto this conversation because you're being asked about your upcoming trial for sexual assault.
The truth and being able to
I
control
understand that,
information. Now, when you worked at The Sun and The Mirror, you'd have had certain obligations and restrictions. There's certain stories that get published and don't get published, certain celebrities that get taken down and others that don't. And now you work in this
Are you all right there, Merlin? What you doing?
world. And what my prayer is for you, Piers, is that you recognise, and I don't mean this in an insincere way, because I think that mutually we have an opportunity to participate in something a little grander than standing on the sidelines with our faces in the trough of media money, participating in the exacerbating ignorance of people in the UK and the United States of America.
Honestly, this is doing my absolute tits in this. Just the absolute waffle. The absolute waffle from him.
The reason I think you've had all these controversies is because you are bullish and you are willing to have a conversation. You're willing to have a go, and that's a real great
But
ability.
I'm also willing to admit when I'm wrong.
That's a lovely quality also.
I think everyone should have that.
But it's good because, yes, in response to new information,
So you admit when you're wrong, Russell?
we should be able to reassess our opinion. Indeed, I didn't used to be a Christian. I'm a Christian now, and sometimes I'm astonished that other people aren't Christian. And then I remember, oh, you didn't used to be Christian. You didn't know that God is real. You didn't know that it says in the Bible, be careful the institutions of power.
Christ, I think I'm out. I think this is about as much of this as I can watch. It's exactly what I expected it would be. A lot of deflection, a lot of word salad. Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense at all. Nothing. I think it's going to be a very interesting trial. It's going to be a very interesting trial, and I wonder whether he'll actually be held accountable. Right, I'm going to head off. I hope you guys have a good Sunday. I might be on later on, do some reactions or something like that. I don't know. I'll see how my day goes. But yeah, I'll catch you all later. Have a great rest of your Sunday. And yeah, peace. Peace.